Yes. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 14 of Dr. D's Discussions. Alcohol, impacts on body and mind. You're joining us with me, Dave Deming, and the lovely co-host Rosa Samuels tonight. So what we're going to be talking about tonight is everybody's, well, it's most people's favorite drug of choice, or the legal drug of choice in the United States and worldwide, ethanol, or colloquial alcohol. There's many forms of alcohol. There's methanol, there's isopropyl alcohol, a whole bunch of alcohols that I didn't actually know that there are. But, it's an organic solvent. It's pretty good. I have a little Merlot in my thing tonight in honor of the episode. So if I get a little schwasty or a little schwifty, I'm sorry. I apologize. But we just like to have a little fun around here. We're like Penn State. We like to go into the half and a little behind. But Rosa, tell us how you're doing tonight. Are you excited for the episode?
Yes, I am.
Good, excellent. I know Rosa's not necessarily the biggest fan of alcohol, and I know that.
It's more, so Dave will go more into like the chemical ways in which alcohol affects the body, and more I look at it more of how the symptoms of how, what it affects the body, and in terms of what happens, in the long term, and what symptoms it really plays out from coming from a physician assistant standpoint. We see what the damage is long term. Yeah,
you'll give more of like a clinical type of perspective, and I'll give you more of the what's breaking it down, how it's being broken down, what are the
enzymes that I can never pronounce
alcohol
that I need to I'm just leaving it all to you.
Alright, yeah, so we're going to have some fun, and then I'll let you in on a little secret of how to cure methanol poisoning. I actually didn't put that in the slide. I should have, but we will look at that when we get to the enzymes for how to break down alcohol. So, what is alcohol? Ethanol. It's pretty much this. So whenever you see the percentage of alcohol, like 35%, 40%, 50%. If you're drinking Everclear, it's 95% or whatever, 90% or whatever it is. This is what they actually mean. How much of the solution is ethanol and not water or other additives? So when you drink grain alcohol, it's water basically and ethanol. When you're actually drinking whiskey, it's got more of the sugars and different things like that. In terms of like rum, it's molasses and things like that. So what you're actually looking at is what makes you feel loopy and silly. And that's basically, that's not a bad thing in my book. But,
in moderation.
Moderation is key. Even moderation. But, pretty much the whole molecular formula is 2 carbons, 5 hydrogens, and then an OH. So it's actually 6 hydrogens. But, yeah, this is a nice little structure that breaks you down. It's actually an organic solvent, so it actually has some parts where it can dissolve, butter and fats and different things like that are hydrophobic. And then the OH group is actually hydrophilic, so it actually likes to be dissolved in water. So that's why you actually see it more in a solution of water. Ethanol is an alcohol that you actually drink is a solution.
A solution in terms of that it's all like one. If you look at like putting oil and vinegar, you'll see it separated. Mm-hmm. You'll see the actual oil and the brown vinegar versus in alcohol, the water's going to be mixed in. It's one diluted solution.
Yeah, and what I mean by solution, it's not a solution to your problems. As Homer Simpson would say, it's the cause of and the solution to all of the world's problems. But what I mean by that is how Rosa explained it, that this is diluted or actually mixed up inside water. That's what we mean by a technical solution. But I actually came across a nice slideshow. It's actually by the University of Wisconsin, a nice little thing from 2009. I guess a professor did a nice little class on what ethanol is and what whiskey is and how it affects the body. And a couple of my slides are adapted from there. So, have you ever wondered why ethanol burns? Like when you take a shot and you do the, oh God, my face. Especially that profile picture I have of you where you're like, ugh. Basically, it activates the TRVP1, or aka the vanillin-1 receptor.
So this is why I leave all those words to you.
And basically what that means is that when the ethanol hits your tongue, it's a nervous system. Yeah, it's a nerve ending. That's how you taste, and that's how you feel, or that's how you know when something's yummy or something's bad, and you just go, ooh, or ooh, that was really good.
And your nerve endings are what you said, it's what you feel. You know, are you in pain? Are you happy? Is it hot? Is it spicy? So that's exactly what, you know, you feel when it's that burning sensation.
Yeah, so basically any type of heat, capsaicin, you know, the things that are in hot peppers, and ethanol. It hits the vanillin 1 receptor. It sends a signal to your brain and it goes, whoo, that's a burn. So that's basically the breakdown of how that works. You know, it's much more complicated than what we're actually picturing here. You know, you have your ligand-gated extracellular ligand, which basically means at the tip of the cells of your tongue, you have these nice little gates that open up when you touch it with something. It's like a key going into a lock. And once you open that lock, it sends the signals down through the tongue, into the nervous system, into the brain, and that's how you detect it. It actually does a flooding signal. I don't actually know the whole signaling pathway. I believe it's actually calcium dependent. It's not actually a kinase dependent. So basically that means that the ethanol will touch your tongue, and it'll actually have calcium flood from the outside into your cells, and that makes a whole bunch of signals happen, and it's like a relay race. It's kind of like when you make a phone call and you call somebody, you know, it goes through the wires, it goes through circuit boards, it goes through here, or if you're on your cell phone, it goes to the satellite, or cell tower, satellite, all the way across the world, and then you get the signal on the other side. And that's basically the best way I can describe it in terms of something that people would actually know. But if you ever, you know how when you start drinking, and I don't know about you, but when you don't feel that burn anymore, it's basically because you're overexciting these inputs. So
you're building a tolerance. Your tolerance.
To a certain extent, it's not necessarily alcohol tolerance,
right.
like most people would take it, but it's just saying that, you know, if you keep pounding on somebody's door, and you know you answer it once, and be like, what's going on, and like they don't want anything, or it's like ding dong ditch. You know, somebody hits your doorbell, you open up, you're like, oh, what the hell? Like, what miscreant is ringing my doorbell? And then close the door, they do it again, they do it again. Eventually, you're just gonna be like, screw it, I'm not gonna answer the damn door. So that's basically what it means by, you know, when you don't have that whiskey burn anymore. Yeah, Phil, I should put them on Blu-ray. They're badass. We're actually thinking about starting a Patreon, so if you guys like what you hear, just let me know, and we might do that. But let's go on a little bit of my little expertise, and loom of expertise. So when you basically, whenever you ingest something, you always break it down, whether that's via, you know, acids in your stomach, or basically enzymes. Enzymes are things that catalyze reactions from one product.
And catalyze means to break down. So you're taking a big thing and you're breaking down the products for your body to either metabolize so that you can utilize the nutrients or excrete them.
Yeah, you go from one reactant to a product, go from this product through another enzyme to another product. And basically, catalyzation speeds up this reaction. So if you didn't have a catalyst or an enzyme to act as a catalyst, this would break down over thousands and thousands or millions of years. So it would be ungodly amounts of time scale. So this actually accelerates the process and helps the body break it down in a much quicker, much more efficient manner than you would actually see in random nature. You know, if you had a bunch of alcohol just sitting in a cup, it's going to take forever for that water to break it down. So basically, ethanol gets broken down by alcohol dehydrogenase into acetaldehyde, and acetaldehyde gets broken down by acetaldehyde dehydrogenase 2 to acetate, and then acetate gets put into circulation, and that's actually what makes you feel all loopy and good, to be honest with you. So you go from ingested, goes through, some of it gets through your stomach, and we'll talk about that later when we talk about the pathway of alcohol. Some of it gets into most of it gets into your small intestine, and that's where you absorb most of your nutrients or any type of food or any type of macromolecular molecules, and then it goes into your bloodstream. And at that point, it does what's called first pass. Do you know what the first pass is, Rosa? I know
first
that
pass
you probably
metabolism.
Yep. So you probably know about the first pass a little bit better than I do in terms of like a clinical setting. But from my understanding is that it goes into circulation of, you know, your intestines and your blood vessels that are in your intestines or surrounding your intestines, takes it through the liver first before it actually sends it through the rest of your body.
Because your liver is where it's going to kind of detoxify. It's breaking it down more so that your body can digest it.
Yep, and the reaction that's, you know, hopefully that you guys can see it behind us, is basically occurring in the liver. It also occurs in some other peripheral tissues, such as the kidneys, a little bit in the lungs.
It's
but
not as much. It's predominantly the liver.
Yeah, and sometimes in the muscles, sometimes in the adipose tissue as well, but significantly more so in the liver. And that's why you always hear about people, oh, my liver, my check engine liver light is, or my check liver light is on. And then it gets put from the liver into the bloodstream again, and then that gets taken through to the brain, and that's when you feel all good and loopy. So basically we have a nice little liver thing behind us. So some of the side effects of breaking down alcohol in the body, in this particular the liver, is an increase in reactive oxidative species, which can be like hydrogen peroxide, can be O2 with an electron on it. And basically all that means is that these are molecules that, you never hear of antioxidants, people like, oh, I need to eat blueberries because they have antioxidants, or they have this, or that, or the other thing. Antioxidants are basically things that fight these reactive oxidative species off. And basically what these things are harmful little molecules that can actually break DNA, they can cause damage to other cellular processes, break down proteins, different things like that. So they actually have to, yeah, Joe, I'm actually having a little Merlot, so maybe it is a little bit like drunk history, so cheers to that. But pretty much, there's a couple other things that happen. The pathway through which you can actually get lactic acid or lactate can cause a buildup of acid in the bloodstream. So that's not good for your brain. It also increases, as I said, the reactive oxidative species can cause adducts, which are just basically fancy names for like acetaldehyde and other things like acetate that break down from step 1 to step 2 of ethanol to acetaldehyde and acetate that can actually cause different problems in the body as well.
Right, so if it's also not helping, it's, putting a stop in the middle of how you're, breaking down your alcohol, then your alcohol is going to stay longer in your body, and it's actually going to increase the alcohol levels, which is why it is so dangerous. And
another thing is that, when you break down glucose in your body, it goes to either glycerol 3-phosphate, and that goes into the... You
either store glucose, which can be, the liver helps in terms of like making your glucose stored into glycogen, or, it's going to be utilized.
3 things, or fats. So you can either use it for, when you make pyruvate and goes through the, oxidative phosphorylation, but before that, what's after that? Glycolysis. Oh, geez,
I'm blanking. Your stuff. This is.
Oh, geez, I'm blanking. Everybody out there who's a molecular biologist is going to throw stuff at me. I'm sorry. Glycolysis, and then citric acid cycle. Oh, geez, if I didn't get that Krebs cycle. So basically, you can either go Krebs cycle to make energy. You can make glycogen where you store it, or you can actually use it and store it for fat. And basically, when you increase your alcohol intake, you actually increase the amount of fat that you make because you're inundating yourself with too much energy. Alcohol actually has, I believe, 7 kilocalories of energy per gram. I believe that's what it is.
I don't know.
Just like protein has 3 kilocalories per gram, or, I think per gram. Is it per gram? Per gram? Perhaps? No, per gram. Per gram. I'm going to go with per gram. But 3 kilocalories, carbohydrates have 3 kilocalories, and fats actually have 8 to 9 kilocalories. So alcohol is a highly energetic substance that you can actually use to make energy. And when you over-inundate your body with it, your liver is like, oh crap, we need to make more fats. So you can actually get what's called fatty liver. And we'll talk about that in a little bit when we talk about cirrhosis and different things like that. But I also wanted to mention real quick is that if you ever have somebody that drinks methanol, alcohol that's used for printer ink and different types of industrial solvents and different things like that. Also, the flip side, it's made when people make bootlegged liquor. So when you see people that make moonshine and different things like that, they use wood. If they use wood instead of actual copper tubing, they can actually induce the wood to make methanol. Because whenever you make ethanol from potatoes or barley or hops or whatever, like you usually do, when you make ethanol grade alcohol, whether that's vodka or gin or beer or wine or anything, you're actually making it in substances that cannot be leached. Like if you make it in wood, such as bootleg whatever, moonshine, you can actually leach the wood, and wood actually turns right into methanol. So if you ever have anybody that has methanol poisoning, what's the cure?
I don't even remember. I know that they're different. I know that there's a distinct difference with methanol and ethanol overdosing.
Yeah, you know what it is? You drink ethanol.
No,
yes, you do.
Something...
No, you really do, because basically alcohol dehydrogenase breaks down methanol into, I forget what it breaks it down into, but it's actually super toxic for the body. So what the whole thing about it is that you inundate the alcohol dehydrogenase with ethanol so that the methanol can't be broken down. So the methanol will actually be secreted by the kidneys in a timely manner. So if you actually get overdose from methanol, the whole thing is to keep you drunk for 8 hours.
Right, because when you're normally drunk, you want to normally give a benzo or diazepam, for instance, because you don't like that withdrawals too much, so you want to kind of ease and slow them down. So interesting. That's interesting.
How funny is that? Yeah. Actually, do you remember that episode of House that actually occurred in with LL Cool J? The prisoner, when he was drinking the printer ink? Yeah. And he got him wasted. He got him drinking shots of tequila. You can learn stuff from TV shows as well. So whenever your parents tell you that TV is devoid of intellect, tell them they're watching the wrong thing. So let's talk about the path of alcohol in the body. So obviously, if you're not boofing it, we'll talk about boofing another time, it's going to enter your mouth, not your butt. It's going to go to your stomach where, like I had said, some alcohol gets into the bloodstream, but most goes to the small intestine. The small intestine, alcohol enters the bloodstream, the walls of the small intestine. It's absorbed through the little villi on your intestinal walls. Your heart pumps the alcohol throughout the body. Brain, alcohol reaches the brain, and you feel all nice and good. The liver, before it actually goes into the bloodstream, is oxidized by the liver by NADH to NADPH or NADH to NAD.
And that's where it's getting broken down, just like the liver is where it breaks down any type of toxins or anything for your body to be able to absorb, excrete, or provide any type of energy for.
And depending upon how well your liver is in tune with, pumping this stuff out of your body, it oxidizes it by half an ounce per hour. So it's not necessarily that you're drinking a full half an ounce. So when you drink 30% alcohol or 40% alcohol, let's say it's 50% alcohol, just for the sake of argument. If you drink 20 ounces of 50% alcohol, how many ounces did you drink?
20 ounces of 50%?
Yes.
It's 10
ounces.
It's half. I was like, okay.
No, and then that's you basically would metabolize that in 5 hours.
Right. Well, and that's why they normally say having one drink per hour is what, it helps your body kind of keeping up at the same rate or being able for your body to handle that.
Yeah. So alcohol is converted into water, carbon dioxide, and energy. That's why you get a little euphoric feeling. But let's talk about it on the brain. So what does it actually do in the brain that actually makes you feel good or makes you feel relaxed or anything that, that people drink alcohol for? Normal thinking depends on a balance of excitatory and inhibitory synaptic activity. 50% of the brain synapses use glutamate, which is an excitatory neurotransmitter or a neurotransmitter molecule. 40% use GABA, gamma-aminobutyric acid. So ethanol actually acts on the GABA-nergic receptors.
Right, and this is why people get addicted. When you feel really good, when your brain is getting signalings and it's hitting those brain signals, you're feeling great, it's a reward system, we're feeling awesome. That's why once it stops, you get that withdrawal, or you don't feel as well, or you don't feel as great, and that's why people need more in order to pick me up. If you're having a hangover and the next day you're feeling kind of gross, having a glass of wine or a beer, people will feel better.
What is it called? The hair of the dog. You have a little hair of the dog to make you feel better.
And that's
true.
The same receptors.
And basically, this whole thing, like glutamate being downregulated by GABA, it'll actually increase your serotonin and dopamine levels because you're actually lowering the excitatory pathway, and it gives you this is nice. I feel good. I don't feel anxiety. Oh, that test that I'm supposed to have next week? Fuck it. Excuse the curse word, but it's just pretty much how it works, and humans aren't evil. Addiction isn't necessarily evil. It's just that when we were evolving in this African savanna, even before that, when we were a lesser primate or, our ancestors were lesser mammals, you had to be tempted to go out and want to go and ooh, I want that banana. I don't really want to go out there though because that tiger's going to eat me. So you do a cost-benefit analysis and be like, oh, well, that banana's going to make my brain feel all nice and good. I'm going to go after that banana, even though that tiger's sitting there. That's kind of what got us, to, and in the case of actually having sex and reproducing. Sex feels good. Like, there's a reason behind that. No fats. They taste really good. They make your brain light up.
They
Sugars.
taste so good.
Oh, so good. Got some pot pie in the oven. Oh, I can't wait for the pot pie. Oh, pot pie. But yeah, so that's basically the effects of alcohol in the brain. Over time, you can actually cause atrophy of the brain. I didn't put it in here, but there's a horrible, horrible picture of it. A 45-year-old brain that has never drank alcohol or drinks very little, not never, but I think in moderation they actually have some drinks, and versus an alcoholic that drinks maybe like a fifth of vodka minimum every day for the past 30, 40 years. There's a huge difference in the brain,
and that's the whole thing of key of moderation, and that's the whole reason when you see people that are eating only fats consistently or only donuts, or you're seeing people that are smoking, 5 packs a day, or people that are drinking these. It's making sure that you're still keeping that whole balance in life that I think is really important.
Yeah, moderation, including moderation. So, all right. So we talked about some of the molecular things and what are the impacts on the body and the brain short term? Well, obviously you get a euphoric feeling, mood elevation. I'm gonna get swifty in here. Nice little Rick and Morty shout out. Gonna get swifty. Gonna get swifty in here. Basically, when you get confidence in social settings. Like, how many times have you ever had a drink or two and been like, I can boogie. Like, I can get down and I can dance. That happens a lot.
So your grandmother asked, does he still have a liver?
He probably does, but
you have to have you can't live without a liver. You could be on watch for like a liver transplant or on like a dialysis equivalent, because then you would need to recirculate how your toxins are getting by. You can't live without a liver. You can have resections of the liver.
You can live with like a third of your liver.
Right. That's what I said. You can have like a.
But we'll talk about the liver in just a little bit. Just hold off. Confidence in social settings, that's what gives you like that, the ability to go dance in front of people that you would never actually do it. Relaxation. People drink it as an aphrodisiac. Gonna get freaky. Yeah. Escape from the real world. Peer pressure. Hell, how many times is, hey Dave, or hey Rosa, let's go do something. Oh, you should drink. Drink. Are you drinking yet? So, and then a shout out to my boy Nate. You have to drink a lot to get liver cirrhosis. Like, you really need to drink a lot. You need to drink like a fifth of vodka like every other day for 40, 50 years. And if not more. And it all depends on your biochemistry. Yeah. It depends on who you are, your genetics, just like anything. Like, there's a lot of people I know that can eat like a freaking...
And they have great cholesterol. And then there's people who even have great eating habits and have high cholesterol. So...
That's why I go with a ketogenic diet. Don't let the haters hate. Carbs are bad for you. And then Nate's favorite, like, how many times have you seen an alcohol commercial? And
there's cars, the man has beer in cars, or the man has women in cars, he's in a nice suit in cars, and
he's
all this beer and...
Beer commercials just literally like...
It's flashy. All
the women are sexy. Everybody in it's just like flirty, and it's fun, and they want you to drink.
It's refreshing.
And they want you, and then drink, and like you get the girl, man. Like that's it. Like,
it's gonna be soon. We're gonna have the Super Bowl next weekend. We're gonna see all those commercials.
Dave, I don't know what 19 shots in a half an hour will do, but I know to your liver. But I know what it'll do to my old couch. Yeah, my great uncle's freaking recliner was destroyed because of you with all the rum shots. But it probably won't be too great for your liver. It's probably not the liver that's the bad thing. It's your brain that's going to get fucked up by 19 shots of alcohol. So when you see binge drinking is not necessarily going to hurt your liver per se. It's going to, but the effects are mostly going to be on the brain, and actually can cause you to depress your respiratory system to the point where you're not actually getting enough oxygen to the brain, and then that would actually cause not atrophy, but just some slight dying of the cells.
Yeah, you're not getting oxygen to the brain, and that's what you need. Your tissues thrive off of your ability for your bloodstream to have, oxygen going to all systems, especially your brain. Your brain is where the most energy and oxygenation is going towards.
Yeah. As I have a little sip of my love. Yeah. So let's talk about some long-term impacts. Red is generally bad, and I'll post the slides up on the post in a little bit. But Small to a moderate consumption increases insulin sensitivity, so that's good for diabetics. Lowers risk of diabetes, obviously. Brain, a little bit of atrophy, so that's not good. Reduce the number of silent infarcts. So, Rosa, what's an infarct?
An infarct is like a schema where you don't have oxygenation to your brain and your tissue dies and
a stroke. For the general public, Rosa. Decreased risk of dementia. It actually is good for you. Exciting the inhibitory neurons or the GABA, like that's actually good for your brain. Actually helps pruning. Actually, it does good things for your brain.
And that also, when you're saying long term, this is meaning like a glass of red wine or a glass a night for women, 2 glasses a night for men at like age 25. This isn't like at 12 years old you're chugging alcohol every single day. This is not
just boofing.
Not that.
Just boofing. Like Shia LaBeouf, just boofing. Increase HDL. Great, that's why my HDL must be so good. Decreases thrombosis or clotting, so that actually alcohol thins your blood, so that's actually makes sense.
So thrombosis is clotting in your bloodstream.
Reduces arterial spasm from stress. So have you ever had like your neck vein, your neck artery just like twitch a little bit?
Nope.
Yeah, good for you, because I have. It's also because I'm angry.
Nope.
Higher bone mineral density. I didn't know that. That's pretty badass. Good for me. Joints, reduce risk of rheumatoid arthritis. Nice. All right, so on the flip side to it, you actually have an increased chance of like having bad liver. What's the colitis is?
Cholangitis,
like ulcerative colitis.
Ulcerative colitis is more so, the digestive system more so than the liver.
No, that's what I mean. Like if you drink a lot of alcohol, you will get a lot of ulcerative colitis.
Yeah, so that's like
you have an increased chance of Crohn's and different things like that. But what I mean is gastritis. You're gonna get pancreatitis. So if you ever drank a lot and then you had really, really smelly poop the next day, that's pancreatitis.
And your pancreas is what's actually helping, put the enzymes with the liver into, the gallbladder where it's going to all excrete in order to break down these products too.
Gallbladder's in the stomach, pancreas goes in the small intestine.
Yeah, so but they're going into it together to each fill that in order to have the enzymes come together.
So on the brain, psychological, you have cravings, irritability, antisociality, depression, anxiety, panic, psychosis, hallucinations, delusions, and then sleep disorders. It actually keeps you from actually doing REM sleep. So there's a myth that, if I study during the day and I have a little alcohol at night, that, if I stop drinking early enough and get enough sleep, that you're going to actually be able to make those into long-term memories. Depending upon who you are and how your brain and your body works and functions, obviously results may vary. You actually won't turn your short-term memory or your RAM, like on your computer, your random access memory, into long-term or your hard drive. So that's actually something that's really bad about alcohol in comparison to like weed or like marijuana, cannabis, or other psychoactive drugs or anything in that regard. Rosa, can you describe Wernicke syndrome to me? Like this is something that I found really interesting that I learned here at Jefferson about. And I know that you had brought it up.
Well, I know it's like us when we had learned about it. It's when you've been drinking so much, you have a decrease in your thiamine deficiency, which is your B1. And basically what happens is that when you are deficient in this, you have like hallucinations. It actually affects your brain a lot. And this is something we learned, a difference between folate deficiency and B1. And so you're going to have tremors. You're going to what ataxia is you're not going to be able to walk steadily. You're going to, be sick. You're going to look at someone and they're just not going to look right is the biggest thing. And, you need to immediately give them thiamine. And that's like one of the first steps into if they were at a hospital that you need to do. Because this can have catastrophic.
Don't they actually remember things that never occurred before?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's like a hallucination. Your memory is all altered.
It's not like you're seeing stuff or anything like that. You're just having like a
kind of out of body experience in a way. It's not good.
Oh wow, Jesus, it sounds terrible. Thank God I've never drank that much. Ugh. But all right, so tell me about the liver in a clinical setting. If I had been drinking for maybe 20 years, tell me what I would see in my liver. I know hepatic cirrhosis and fatty liver are two things. Could you describe those to me in terms of what you would see clinically?
I mean, clinically, your body's not going to be able to absorb as much anymore. You're probably going to have a liver transplant. You're not going to be going to the bathroom collector. Your body's not going to be able to absorb things. I think not necessarily the pancreatitis where you have such smelly bowel, but your body's not going to be functioning. It can have problems with your heart. It can have problems with your lungs. It has problems with your brains. Once you're not able to actually digest your toxins, you're going to have a lot of problems with being able to digest any type of nutrients. Your body won't be able to break down everything that you're putting in towards it, and you're going to actually have to have outside resources of a liver transplant or a way of dialysis to break these things down, but then also give your body the nutrients it needs to survive.
Nice, it's perfect. Thank you.
I don't know if that's
Then,
helpful.
no, it's an excellent description. So what does it mean by cirrhosis? Like, what does that actually mean? What
It's scarring of
Okay.
your liver. So like there's fibrosis
So when you
where
like
it becomes
you fall over and scrape your knee and you get scarring.
scars.
So basically, it's just kind of the same thing.
Right, and if you're scarring your liver and you're not able to have as much space, so imagine if you have a huge space and you can have all these enzymes created that the normal body wants. If you keep scarring up your liver, you can't produce everything. There's a smaller and smaller space that you will be able to go into the liver. It can back everything up, and then it can go back into the bloodstream where everything's getting clogged. That's the best way is like, for me, I have very curly hair, so if I keep taking a shower and I don't clean the little like drainer, then it's going to keep getting clogged and nothing can go through.
That's perfect. That's a great analogy. Kudos.
Yes.
And then fatty liver is just basically the accumulation of fatty acids. So when your liver makes, fatty acids or fats from whether it's triglycerides as well, from glucose or alcohol, there's an accumulation, and your body can't get rid of them. They can't use them as quickly. So you get this nice, literally, your liver looks yellowy and nasty. So,
and that's why you get what's called jaundice. When you have problems with the liver, is that you actually see like your sclerosis, so your eyes, like the white parts of it, are going to turn yellow. You're going to actually see the gums. A lot of people look at the gums to see if like around there is turning yellow. And you actually get a yellow pigment to your skin. And it's very noticeable.
Do I have jaundice?
No, you don't look yellow. God. You look pink.
Oh, yeah, I'm very pink.
Because you're pale.
Very pink. I think I'm always angry, so high blood pressure gets the blood to the skin. So let's talk about some long-term effects. Nervous system, like you had said, tingling and lost feeling in hands and feet. With the Warnickies and loss of gait. Fucked up gait. Blood changes in red blood cells. I didn't actually know that. That's interesting.
It's the change in red blood cells because you're not able to get as much, if the blood's not able to filter as much, your blood cells are trying to be able to get as much oxygen as they can to deliver it, so it's going to eventually conform the configuration.
Heart, high blood pressure,
Ataxia, so that's just like altered walking. No, ataxia, or where are you looking?
Tachycardia.
Tachycardia, that's fast heart.
What's irregular heartbeat?
Arrhythmia.
There you go. See, I don't know the clinical words. Like, ask me about enzymes and molecules and the MAPK kinase pathway, and I got you. But enlarged heart from overbeating, brain injury, loss of memory, confusions, hallucinations, lung, greater chance of infections because of the weakened immune system, muscles, weakness, loss of muscle tissue. You'll actually have atrophy of your body. You'll waste away.
And yeah,
if you're not actually getting the nutrients that you need, and you're substituting them with just alcohol, you're not getting your meats, you're not getting your vegetables, you're not getting your fruits. Your body's going to start using alcohol to try to make those products.
And that's why a lot of times you get like ketones are going to be increased. You're going to have LDH. All of these things will be increased because your body's trying to utilize other energy sources because they don't have the regular
LDH.
ones. Well, that's a level that we check, like that and ammonia are. I don't know what it stands for.
Fair enough.
I know the acronyms.
For it, but I got you. Liver damage, including swelling and pain, hepatitis, liver cancer, pancreas, inflamed pancreas causing pain, stomach, inflamed lining, bleeding, ulcers, and intestines, inflamed lining, like I had said earlier. So let's wrap it up in terms of alcoholic drink equivalencies. And 12-ounce regular beer, about 5% alcohol, is equivalent to about they say malt liquor here, but craft beers now, since they're especially so popular, 8 to 9 fluid ounces of craft beer, about 7% alcohol. So your IPAs, not your Golden Monkey, because your Golden Monkey's a little stronger. 5 ounces of table wine, which is about 12% alcohol. And then that's equal to about 1.5 fluid ounces or a shot of 90 proof spirits, whether that be hard liquor, whiskey, gin, rum, vodka, tequila, etc., etc. Not peyote, but absinthe maybe. Peyote will make you puke like alcohol, but not necessarily the same thing. But it's that pretty much wraps it up for our explanation of alcohol in the body. But have anything else?
Nope. That was it.
Oh, cool! Excellent.
All she wrote.
All right, so let's take a couple minutes and let's talk about the state of the country in terms of this refugee ban. I know that you're pretty passionate about it, and I just want to throw a couple things out there. There's a lot of misinformation about what's going on, and it's not necessarily a direct Muslim ban because it's not what it is, but it's set up in such a way that the 7 countries that it's banned from, it's all majority religion. And guess what religion is majority in those countries? Islam. So my whole thing is that there's a provision that you can expedite the process of the refugee application if you're Christian or a minority religion in those countries. So basically we're saying, fuck you Muslims, pretty much. So that's my whole fucking take on it. It's bullshit. The vetting process already takes 18 to 24 months. You're put before the State Department, you're vetted through them, you're vetted through Homeland Security, and then they go through the CIA and FBI to see if you have any other background checks that you need to. And then there's 15 other departments and intelligence agencies that will actually go through your record and go, is Muhammad or Isabella or the children of these two, are they, I don't know, Isra, a female Islamic name. Like, if they really wanted to get in this country, they're not going to go through the goddamn refugee program. They're going to go through Canada, they're going to go through Mexico, and they're going to cross the border illegally. They're going to get on a flight from Turkey, they're going to get a flight from Europe. They're not going to go through the refugee process. Like, the process takes a year and a half to 2 years already. And this extreme vetting, you've been sold on a bill of goods that we already do. Like, I'm sorry. And
it's a very frustrating feeling to not be able to want to help people, to do the right thing, to be good, to help others. We as Americans, we were all immigrants. We were all at a point, whether or not, we were born here, where we were at a place that maybe we needed help, whether it was a shoulder to cry on or something as big as you don't have a home. And so to not be there, to not be the leaders that will help, to bomb those countries and then turn our back on the innocents. It is so wrong, and that is why it needs to be, And I know you're Jewish, so right. And the thing is, it shouldn't be at a place though that it affects me for me to care what is right or what's wrong, whether it's to a religion that I'm not, whether it's to females or males, whether to genders that I am pertaining to or not. It is about helping everyone, to stand united and to give everyone equality. And I don't think that it has to be for the Jews or as women to affect me. It is everyone that needs to be united to be there for each other. Remember, so that is why we are donating. We are trying to donate to the ACLU, donate to Justice Democrats. Wolfpack. We are going to do what it takes to help make a voice and help people be more educated. Yes. That is where it starts. Remember, the Jews were turned away as refugees before World War II. My mom came back 35 years to Russia. 35 years. And the first thing the people in her building said was, "You are the Jews," and turned away from us. And my mom held her head high because instead of being rude or hateful or spiteful, she turned away and said, "Have a good day," because that shows a good person. So I think, we need to do the right thing, and no matter how many hateful people there are, we need to stand together and we need to try to help. Perfect. All right, guys, next week we're going to be doing a special episode on MDMA, or what everybody calls Molly or ecstasy, and the treatment of PTSD. We're also going to bring in a little bit of a psilocybin, which is in the magic mushrooms. And we're going to talk about how the clinical trials and different studies are actually working with people who are veterans that are being treated with this particular drug.
And like anything's a drug, but you need to find the root cause, or root to it that can actually be beneficial to people. The dose makes the poison. So remember that. You can drink enough water to kill yourself, literally. If you drink enough water, you
that
will
is
kill
true because
yourself.
you're diluting, too much water in your bloodstream, and it actually makes your red blood cells burst.
Yep, and it actually will sap yourself of salts and sodium and different electrolytes that you need to live. And then I forget what's after that, but I know we're going to do a cancer episode coming up and try to debunk the whole there's a cure for cancer thing and actually give people like a really nice basic explanation of what cancer is and what causes cancer and different things like that. So next week, check it out, MDMA and PTSD.
And please, let's try and unite. Let's try to bring love. Let's try to be the good that this country is hoping and
be the
trying
good
to
that
do.
you want to see in the world. The ACLU, not UCLA, ACLU. There's a bunch of others. I know that I donate to the ACLU, Wolfpack, Justice Democrats, and I also, I love the Young Turks. They're a great news organization. They're actually going to start doing a lot more of their own investigative journalism because of the campaign that they just run and they're currently running. So if you can, donate to them so they can actually break stories about donors, the Democrats, the Republicans, Trump. They want to have an investigative journalism team for all of those. They just broke a story about how there's lead in Indiana in the water. So, they broke the story in Flint. They were one of the first people to break the story in Flint.
It's
They were
awareness.
the only
It's
people
all
on the ground
about-
in Dakota Access Pipeline. They were the only major news or media that was there. So give them a look. If you don't believe, you don't like their progressive attitude, that's fine. But we can always have a debate about progressive or conservative after we expose some problems. So think about that. Next Saturday is the MDMA PTSD episode because the Super Bowl is on Sunday.
We're all going to watch the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no one's going to watch the show on Sunday. So 7 p.m. Saturday. I'll let you guys know. So thank you. All right. Thank you so much.